That's not till next week's, the 9th or something, because we've got an extra class tagged on the end. So your classes look like they finish on the Monday, but they actually finish on the Tuesday because I Skyped a Tuesday. Okay, so fingers between your toes, give your toes a nice shaking of toes. But I know that quite a lot of people have got little ones back at school, or they've got you're in England and things are back to normal. So we're going to change it back. So you got your fingers between your toes and you give them a nice wiggle about. Good. And then take the whole top part, midsection of your foot. And Lois, I'll get back to your email today as well. I'm working my way through my life and up and down. Good. And Sarah, I've got answers for you too. So I'll get back to you too. So all the way around, make sure this is nice and warm because we're going to be doing a lot of work thinking about what our toes are doing today as well. And rotating all the way through our ankles. Good. Okay. And then we're going to swap and do the other foot once you've done that. But we want these nice to start with. Good, and I'll meet everybody now. If you need to talk, you can just press the button thing. And space bar, which was an invaluable thing. Thanks, Sarah, for this weekend. Okay, so fingers between our toes. And thanks, Michelle, for all your advice too. So I'm slowly getting better at Zoom. So fingers between your other toes and give them a good shake. Rotate the top half of our foot. Good. Excellent. And then once you've done that, ankles. Okay. So for most of us, we're going to start on our backs. I'm going to talk you through what we want to do. If you can't lie on your back for whatever reason, if you're pregnant or have a real reason not to lie on your back, like your sore backs and things that are affected more by lying on our backs, then we're going to do a sitting position. So I'm going to show you that one next in a moment while these guys practice this one. So the first one you guys are going to have a practice over and try and really feel what's going on is the bridge position. So you're going to have your feet hip distance apart, knees bent. Now you want to make sure in this position, and if you're not doing this just now, you're going to do some nice warm-up breaths in a sitting position, really focusing on the lateral breath to the side, really focusing on connecting with your sits bones. Okay, so you're going to lie your back, and you're going to check, first of all, that your feet are in the right position. So you want them so that you're not right tight up next to your bum, because this is far too close and it doesn't give you any maneuverability. So if you try and like pull up with your knees just in this position, you'll find that your knees are kind of coming past your feet. And it feels really uncomfortable on your knees. So you want to take it just back a little bit more. And you don't want them so far away that when you try and come up, you're really struggling. And it's like you're having to push against your feet and your feet are sliding away from you. So it's almost as if you've got like a 45-degree angle in your legs, roughly, but everybody's different because it depends on how long your femur is as well. So feel which feels comfortable. So it should feel comfortable coming up into this position, or reasonably comfortable. We're going to have our hands by our side for the first ones when we're practicing this. And we're not, initially the focus isn't on our feet. I want you to feel your big toe, your little toe and your heel on the floor, but your foot, you're not going to be pushing into your feet for the anterior chain one. I just want you to be aware of your feet on the floor. Good. Then you're going to press into the floor with your forearms and also draw your armpits down towards your hips because we want your arms nice and active. Now in your shoulders, you shouldn't feel like the mid part, the center of your back is popping off the floor, or that your shoulders are popping off the floor and your middle of your back is on the floor. You want to feel like you've got a nice flat, almost flat line between each shoulder blade and the center of your back. So you want to feel like it's really kind of heavy on the floor, but you've still got these nice active arms. Now, once you're in this position, you also want to make sure your occiput bone is on the floor. So this back bit at the back of your head is on the floor. Relaxing your jaw and gazing straight up towards the ceiling. Then from this position, just in your own time, you're going to do 3 nice slow breaths and to really take your time with it, and then your rib opening. When you do your rib opening, I just want you to hold your rib opening in this position to start with. So just have like maybe a count of 2. So 1, 2, holding the rib opening. Then tilt your pelvis a tiny bit to draw the lower back in towards the floor, and then pull up with your knees. So it's as if your knees are drawing you up towards the sides, the corners of the room. And you want to really feel this length from the knees all the way through
your hips all the way through the shoulders and into the floor. Like you've got a javelin almost like through your body that sticks into the ceiling at one end and then comes all the way through your body and sticks into the floor at the other, like an arrow. So you want to do a couple of those just now, and then I'll talk you back through them again. So if you're not doing the bridging position, we're going to be sitting. But if you've got a pillow or a cushion somewhere kicking about, let's see if I can find what I need. We're going to put that between our knees. Excellent. So we're going to have our legs out in front of us, and we're going to place it between our knees. It doesn't have to be a ball, it can be a cushion. Excellent, because I want us to work this anterior chain more while we're breathing. Good. Okay, so we're going to have our feet dorsiflex, push our heels in towards the floor and pull them back towards our sits bones. And then sit right on your sits bones. Good. Think about your alignment through your body, so making sure we're really working our back muscles. And then without doing any arms to start with, as we inhale, we're going to release the ball lightly with our knees. And as we exhale, think about those sits bones drawn together, we're going to draw our knees together as well. So really start working in this anterior chain. So you're just going to do 5 nice slow breaths like that, really thinking about this lateral breath and squeezing on each exhale. Good, so do 5 of them first. Take it nice and slowly. Good. Once you've done your 5, really focusing on that, really focusing on this rib opening and the sits bones, then you're going to take your hands into your first position, and we're going to focus really loads on our back muscles. So we're going to do 4 breaths in first position, really focusing on pressing down into our thighs, 4 breaths in second position, and 4 breaths in our third position. Making sure we're not arching when we come up there, because it's super important to keep our back nice and strong at the moment, yeah? And each time squeezing the ball. Okay, for everybody else as well, how are you finding them? They look good. Excellent. Okay, cool. So what we're working here is we're working our anterior chain in the same way that when we're squeezing the ball between our legs, we're working our anterior chain. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to add the articulation. Now the articulation of our spine, we're going to do everything exactly the same. We're going to do our 3 nice slow breaths. We're going to do our rib opening. And then when we open our ribs, we're going to pause for a moment. And then we're going to tilt our pelvis. And it is as if you're grabbing your pelvis and tilting it, like we're trying to turn it. We're posteriorly tilting it, so we're pulling it backwards. And then we're going to start leading with our pubic bone almost here. And our pubic bone is going to come up, 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 up. As we peel our spine off the floor, we're going to make sure we keep our knees in line with our hips. Because quite often when we do this exercise, in order to create space for this roll-up position, we start to open our legs towards the side, and we want to work these adductor muscles here. So when we come up to the top here, we're going to hold. You're going to do your hold for as long as you can. You're going to then inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to roll back down again nice and slowly, bringing our pubic bone down last. So let's do it. 3 nice slow breaths. When we get to the top of this one as well, guys, once you come up, start to tilt your pelvis, you want to push through your heels and your feet. So this one, we're pushing through our heels and our feet to turn on our hamstrings and our glutes and our back line. Okay, so take your time, nice and slowly, 3 nice slow breaths. Then your rib opening, good. And if you're doing the sitting position, you want to really focus when you're doing your arms on imagining that there's a line coming right down the center of your body, and it's drawing your fingers together. And at the same time, you're trying to pull them apart. So you're really working those back muscles. Good, nice, Caroline, good. Good. And then on the exhale, you want to try and articulate back down again. So the articulation back down again is just focusing, trying to visualize your spine working its way down nice and slowly. So this is to strengthen and make more flexible the posterior chain. So you're going to do a couple of these. So do 2. Good, take your time coming down, Gillian. Good. 3 nice slow breaths. Good. Shoulders are down. If your arms are in third position, that's better. Good. And think about opening your shoulder blades towards the sides. Good. So if we're in this position here, we're doing 3 nice slow breaths. You're going to do your rib opening first. Then still keeping our hands active on the floor. So thinking about that, push down through the forearms, armpits drawing towards our hips. We are going to tilt our pelvis first, then push through our heels and draw our body all the way up into the bridge position. And when we get to the top here, we want to make sure that our ribs are still in line with the rest of our body, that we're not popping our rib cage really high up at the top. Because this isn't what this does, is this then switches off this connection. So if you come up and pop your ribs forward, your ribs are going to be higher than the ASAS bones, and we want to keep them nice and in line. So we're not coming up to the top. That's nice, Gillian. Good. Good, these look good. So our focus has to be really very much on pushing through those heels and thinking about this lengthening through the posterior line. Okay. Good. So we're going to run through one of each. And if you're doing the sitting pose here, we're going to run back through it again, but this time with external rotated arms. So we're really working through our back chain as well. So we're going to do first 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Everybody else, you're going to be on the floor, and we're going to run through one of each of these, and I'll talk you through it this time so that you've got everything happening. So feet are hip distance apart. They're a reasonable distance from your body so you can come up nicely into the position. Hands are flat on the floor. Occiput bone is flat on the floor. We're pushing through our forearms. We're thinking about drawing our armpits down towards the floor, and you're making sure that your thoracic spine is connected to the floor, your lower lordosis is off the floor, and that your pelvis is nice and neutral. Relax your jaw. 3 nice slow breaths. I'm going to do 3 and 6, and then we'll come up. Ready to inhale. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch off your breath. Pause. Open your ribs. Wait for a moment. Feel that rib opening first. Then tilt your pelvis just a little, and then pull with your knees. So all the emphasis is on your knees, drawing you up into that bridge position. Remember, we want to keep our rib cage in line with our pelvis. Still pushing through the forearms, still drawing your armpits down towards your hips. Hold for as long as you can here. Lengthen your neck along the floor. 3 nice slow breaths, and then inhale at the top here, sorry. And then as you exhale, just release your knees back down towards the floor. Good. Excellent. And then we're going to do the articulation one, and then we're going to move on to the next pose we're kind of focusing on. So remember with the articulation one, we want to really switch on the back line. So we're going to push down with our feet as we start to come up. Hands flat on the floor. Lengthen through your spine. Push through your forearms. Feel your toes on the floor. Feel your heels on the floor. And remember to also think about where your knees are. So make sure they don't come out towards the side. Ready to inhale. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch off your breath. Pause. Open your ribs. Have a moment with the ribs open. Then tilt your pelvis so your lower back comes into the floor, and then push through your heels and draw up. So it's as if you're being driven by your feet and your hamstrings, the backs of your legs, up towards your bridge position. Keep your hands nice and active on the floor. Relax your jaw. Hold it here for as long as you can. Make sure your knees aren't splaying out towards the side or coming in not knees. When you're ready to inhale, you're going to inhale in this position, and then exhale, come down, and try and think about articulating each of those vertebrae all the way back down again till your neutral pelvis. Good. Then give your knees a pull in towards your chest. And we're going to move on to our next one that we're looking at this week. So we can all do this one. So we are going to be in quadruped position. Now, we're all going to try this one, but if your wrists get sore, then I'll show you the alternative as well. But we're going to all start here so we should do a bit of strengthening for our wrists. Now, if you find that internally rotating your hands, so taking them in this way, is too much for you, you can angle them out until they feel more comfortable. And if they feel more comfortable with your fingers pointing straight ahead, just do it there to start with, yeah, until everything gets a bit stronger.
If it's still really uncomfortable, you can come up and use your fists. So you can come up onto your fists. I'm reluctant to get anything underneath the heel of your hands for this one because I want you to crawl eventually. So we're going to start. We want to make sure we've got a nice little box shape. So you want to make sure that your knees are directly underneath your pelvis. Good. And then we want to make sure our hands are directly underneath our shoulders. Now this is about bone stacking. If you've got your hands pointing straight ahead like this, I'd like you to think about what's going on with your elbows. So instead of having this internal rotation here at our shoulders, I want us to work our back in the same way people are working the back in this position. So if you have your hands pointing straight ahead, I want you to see the pits of your elbows here. I want them to be turning towards the front. Yeah? You want to make sure, so Miss Gillian Cannon, you want to make sure that you don't start hyperextending those. So take them around to the point just before your elbows start popping. There, hold it there. Yeah. Same with everybody. If you're a hyperextender, what can happen is as you pull it around here, it can start bending at your elbow the wrong way. And that way, what we're doing is we're overstretching ligaments. So if you're coming around and trying to externally rotate here, so we've got more stability in our shoulder girdle, you want to check and look at your elbows and make sure you're not popping through them. So come to the point just before that happens so we can start to strengthen all the muscles. Okay, so all those points, that's why we're doing it this way, so make sure everybody's got a nice position. Okay, so I'm going to go internally rotated today. We are going to then think about our feet. So we're going to come up on our feet. We'll curl our toes underneath. And for this one, what you're doing is as if you're on starting blocks, you know, at the beginning of a race where you're about to go. You want to have that kind of push back through your heels, like you're about to leap into action. Okay, I think we've gone through that. Now, if we're in this position to engage our shoulder blade girdle, what we want to do is we want to feel like our shoulders are just sighing apart. So it's as if they've got space between them. And what we're doing here is engaging what's called the serratus anterior muscle, and that helps to engage our abdominals. Then we want to think about drawing our armpits down towards our hips. Good. Everybody did that. That's brilliant. Good. And you want to look straight towards the floor. And it's as if you're trying to press the back of your head against the ceiling. So we want to have that idea of pressing the back of our head up towards the ceiling so that we don't do this thing where our head falls between our shoulders. Looking straight down towards the floor. Now all we need to do is make sure our pelvis and rib cage are lined up. So you want to make sure you've not started doing this because we've been focusing on everything else. So it's as if your sits bones are pointing straight out behind you. And that sometimes helps just align you. These are good. Look straight down towards that floor. 3 nice slow breaths and rib opening here. Take your time. Remember to press the back of your head against that ceiling. Good. 3 breaths just in your own time. If you're not doing the rib opening, 4 breaths here. So really focusing on breathing into your back, breathing into your sides for everybody. And then your rib opening. When you do the rib opening here, I want you to really think about it being a really slow, gradual pull away from your pelvis. So when we do the static positions, we want to make it super, super slow. Good. Once you've done one, shake your wrists off. These look nice. They look really nicely positioned. Well done. Okay, so we're going to add to this, obviously. And we'll be moving, so your wrists won't get quite so sore. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to be in this position. We are going to inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to simultaneously lift. Not moving forward yet. We're going to simultaneously lift our right hand, left knee, and then place it down. So we're not going to hold it up for the whole of the exhale because that'd be ages. You're going to inhale, exhale, lift, and place back down. So you're getting a feeling of this happening. And then you're going to do we're going to stick with one side to start with. So we're just going to do the right, left to start with, yeah? 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale down, and then another inhale, and then lift on the next exhale. So we're going to do 3 just static. Right hand, left arm. If this is getting sore for your wrist, come up on your fists. Okay, so let's do it. Ready to inhale. Inhaling. Exhaling, lift. Place that down. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Right hand, left knee, and place back down. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Place back down. So come up on back on your knees for a second. When we're doing this, What we want to do is we want to be able to lift them without howking our body all over the place. So what we're doing is we're trying to lift almost like from the center of our body. So we're not thinking about lifting our shoulder up. We're thinking about lifting this whole cross section across here up. So when we inhale, when we exhale and lift, it's like this whole, it's like the whole section is lifting across the body. So not individually. So if I show you from this side, I'm not individually howking my hips up like this. I'm not going to go into like one of those things where I'm like lifting my leg to pee against the wall or anything from like regular exercise classes done poorly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I want you to really focus on lifting and keeping everything basically nice and in line. So hands directly underneath your shoulders again. These exercises are for the posterior chain, but they're also engaging across your obliques. So we're working our obliques as well. So lengthen through your spine. Think about long length. Think about pressing your head against that ceiling. We're going to inhale. We're going to lift the left hand, right knee this time. Inhaling. Exhale, lift. So you want to balance between the other two and put it back down. Inhale again. Exhale, lift. Put it back down. Inhale again. Exhale, lift. Put it back down. Switch off your breath and open your ribs. And if you're not opening your ribs, just do another breath here. And then shake it off. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to add movement this time. So each time we exhale, we're going to take a step forward. And then on the last one, we're going to do our rib opening. Now, when we come to do our rib opening, we'll have alternate hand and leg forward. So we'll be in this kind of position here. We want to make sure that our pelvis is even when we get there. I'll talk to you about it though. There's a lot going on, eh? So hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your pelvis. Think about your feet. Think about them being active, like being on those starting blocks. Press your head towards the ceiling. We're going to go right hand, left leg to start with as we walk forward. Ready to inhale. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, right hand, left leg. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Lift and move. Left hand, right knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Right hand, left knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch off your breath. Pause. Open your ribs. And if you're not opening your ribs, another breath here, just holding it here. Hold for as long as you can. When we need to inhale, you're going to inhale in position and exhale, shake your hands off again. They'll get stronger as we use them. Okay, so we're going to start in that position in a minute and we're going to come back the way. Now, the issue with coming back the way quite often is this. As we start to come back, it's harder to tell the distance. So we end up a bit like this, like a little angry cat. So we want to just make sure we're coming back a little bit. We don't want to be moving so far back that our shoulders are pulling out and our hips are pulling out and everything. It's just little tiny steps. So we're going to start where we left off. So we're going to start with we're going to just take a little step forward. So start with your hands directly underneath your shoulders to start with. And we're just going to do the step backwards positions. So pull up your toes again. It's as if we're being transported forward. Make sure your pelvis and ribcage are aligned. Pressing your back of your head against that ceiling. Check your arm positions and your arms as a whole. We're going to step back this time with our right hand, left knee to begin with. Ready to inhale. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Step back, right hand, left knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, hold it here. 1, 2, 3. Step back. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Step back, right hand, left again. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch off your breath. Pause and slowly open your rib cage. Good. When you're ready to inhale here, inhale in position and exhale, shake your arms off. So give them a wee squidgy. So grab them together and give them a wee rotation or rotate them all the way up and all the way down. It's quite nice as well. Okay, so this one, This time what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit to this. So just a little bit. So we're going to add a little bit of instability with our legs, which is super important as well to make us use our core a little bit more, but also to stretch out different muscle groups. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice it first, yeah? So we're going to try the movement pattern first. So we're coming back onto our hands and knees, thinking about all the things we've just been thinking about, but especially the head position, because we don't want that dropping, because it wrecks the whole pattern, really. So we're going to do our 3 nice slow breaths, and we're just going to practice a pattern first. So we're going to step forward, step forward, step forward, and then whichever hand we've stepped forward with last, that leg, so the opposite leg. So I've got my right hand is forward, my left hand is back, is in front of the other one. I'm going to stretch that leg back, and just keep it on the floor to start with, actually. So let's try it. So we've done all of these things before. When we reach our leg out, what happens with reaching our leg out, we want to slide our leg out from underneath us so that our pelvis is nice and neutral. And I want you to feel that length through that body. So you want to really feel the stretching out of all your hip flexors in this position. Good. And this is what starts to engage the anterior chain along with the posterior chain initially. And again, making sure that you're not dropping your pelvis and that everything is nice and neutral. So let's try it, yeah? I'll talk you through it, don't worry. So back on our hands and our knees, make sure we're nicely lined up. Everything is in line. We're pushing with our toes. We're going to do our 3 breaths. I'm starting with my right hand, left knee to step forward. Ready to inhale. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3. Step forward with my right hand, left knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Left hand, right knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Right hand, left leg. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch off your breath. If you're doing the rib opening, open your ribs first. Then once you've established your rib opening, you're sliding your left leg out behind you. If you're just doing inhales, exhales, just use your next exhale. Hold it in this position for the whole of the rib opening, keeping it on the floor and thinking about maintaining a line, making sure your balance points are evenly distributed between all 4 points. Good, these look nice. Hold for as long as you can. And when you need to inhale, inhale position, exhale, come back. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're just going to start with the other hand and leg. Shake it yourself. So we'll have super strong wrists soon. You'll be like that. Oh, yeah. So, anyway. So we've got our hands directly underneath your shoulders again. Our knees are back where they should be. We're up on our toes. We're pushing back on the starting blocks. So that starts to really engage our glutes, actually. Turn our hands in the way if you're using it in the hand position. And we're going to step forward this time with our left hand or right knee. Ready to inhale. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Left hand, right knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Right hand, left knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3. Left hand, right knee. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch off your breath. Pause. Open your ribs, slide your right leg out behind you once your ribs are open. So open your ribs first, then slide your leg out. And then once you're out here, I want you to think about making sure your balance is evenly distributed. So you're not pushing into one limb or another. Hold for as long as you can. And when you need to inhale here, inhale in position and exhale. Shake them all off. We're going to give them a break now because we're going to add to that next time. Gosh, we're running out of time. That's typical of me. So we're going to do one more little thing to finish, just to start stretching off different parts of our body. So we're going to come up into an upright kneeling position. I've chopped my head off. We've got 2 minutes, I think. So let's do this, because this is a nice one. It's not, well, it is nice. It's nice for your body. So we're going to be up in we're going to be in a tall kneeling position. We've got our toes hooked under. Good. And we're thinking about pulling our heels back the way. We want to make sure we're beautifully lined up. So making sure we're not pressing our ribcage forward. You want to make sure that you're listening to that conversation behind you now. And then all we're going to do here is we're going to practice our rocking in this position. So as we inhale, we're going to keep this beautiful shape and we're going to come back as far as we can, keeping this shape.
And as we exhale, we're going to come forwards into our forwards position as far as we can come forwards before we want our feet to start leaving the floor, or we start doing weird stuff with our bum and our chest or our ribs. So you want to keep nice and upright. So we're inhaling, coming back. Good. And exhaling slowly forwards. Good. Keep those feet on the floor, yeah? Inhale back. Good. And you should feel the stretch starting to happen and your anterior chain kicking in. So you can feel your muscle chains. And that's what I'd like you to be able to start feeling in all the poses. That's why we're doing it this way. So this way, when I'm back like this is the whole of my anterior chain kicking in. And then as I come forward, at some point as I come forward, the anterior chain switches not totally off, but it lessens in its control of your body. And the posterior chain kicks in. Good. So we're going to do 3 of these and then a rib opening. But if you're not doing the rib opening, you're going to do 3 of these. And then at the front, in the front position, you're going to come up with your arms all the way up. Everybody else, you're just going to do rib openings. If you're not doing the rib opening, add the arms so you get that extra feeling of work. Okay, so start with hands just by your side. Nice relaxed shoulders. Good, and we're going to take a balance point back for the inhale. So inhaling, rocking back, really focusing on keeping this chain nice and engaged. And then as you exhale, we're coming forward. Feel when your posterior chain starts to kick in. Don't grip with your glutes. Think about your whole body holding you up. Then again, when you're ready, you're inhaling back the way again. Good. And exhaling, coming forwards. Good. And one more. So inhale, keep thinking about getting taller, taller, taller. Don't shrink. On the inhale, exhale, you're coming forward, getting taller. Make sure your eyes are looking straight towards the horizon. Switch off your breath. Open your ribs. If you're not doing the rib opening, you're going to bring in your arms. So we're really using the serratus to widen your rib cage further to the sides. Good. Good. Well done, everybody. Shake their arms off and things. So tomorrow we're going to start